Do you know what's the most unforgettable introduction of all time?
Bond. James Bond.
But why? Because Ian Fleming wanted Bond to be a character that's warm and charming, but also classy and competent. Exactly 47 years later, scientists proved his genius. Between all the charismatic people, there are two patterns that repeat themselves: warmth and competence. So if you want to be remembered like that, you first need number 1, competence. The ability to do something successfully or efficiently. We both know how the first moments of the interaction can turn awkward. You can go for the handshake while the other person goes for a fist bump. Or worse, she can go for the hug and you ruin it with a handshake. Painful. You do not want that. So in order to avoid it, pre-signal what you're about to do. Raise your hands a little if you want to go for a hug. If you want to go for a handshake, blade like this and put your hand up. By the way, if you're shaking hands with a girl, don't dial down your firmness too much. According to the study, it would make you seem less competent. But don't squeeze her hand either.
Thank you, everybody.
Now after you meet, handshake, and exchange names, here comes the make or break moment. Present your life and personality in an unforgettable and interesting way during the short time frame of a brief conversation. Easy, right? Well, I'll give you two versions of the same introduction. Since I was little, I always loved traveling. Now I help people visit their dream destinations. I work as a travel agent. Yup. One makes you look like the perfect average Joe, while the other one makes your life look fun and purposeful. So in order to make a statement like this, you need to A, tell why you chose this job, and B, present the job in a fun way. But your little travel agency can't be your entire personality. Fortunately, this framework also works with your hobbies. But between us two, let me tell you something crazy. In 2005, Alexander Tudorov made an experiment. He took some participants, showed them photos of political candidates for only 1 second, and then asked the participants, "Who do you think won the election?" Their accuracy was 70%. The reason I tell you that is because you have to understand how fast and precise human judgment really is. You can say all the fancy words you want, but you'll just waste them without the right body language. So how can you show competence through gestures? Well, let's take a look at this video of Neil Strauss flirting with Jessica Alba.
The whole thing is guys are always trying to sell themselves to women. They're always trying to brag about themselves and say what they do for a living, and instead you kind of got to flip the script, make someone who has absolutely no interest in you.
He has expansive posture, he's leaning in while making good eye contact, and that eye contact even allows him to enter her personal space, proving his competence. By the way, this happens 2 minutes later in the video. Number 2. Warmth, enthusiasm, affection, or kindness. When she was younger, Jenny Jerome, also known as Winston Churchill's mother, had the occasion to meet two influential personalities. Her impression? "After dining with Gladstone, I thought he was the cleverest man in all of England." The next day. "After dining with Benjamin, I thought that I was the cleverest woman in all of England."
Okay.
And that's how he got her vote. In the book First Impression, the authors proved that the most important element of the interaction is how good you make the other person feel about themselves. But how do you do that? Besides active listening, CIA agents use something called doors and windows. Take a look at this simple, everyday conversation. The CIA agent already spots that Mike is a coffee lover, he's tired, and has health concerns for his child. He can bring all of these up in a future conversation to get whatever he wants. You see, the key is to pay attention to these signs and bring them up in the future. That way you can build rapport faster. I'll leave this website, Everyday Spy, in the description of the video. But humans are tricky. People will see us as warm and trustworthy only if you present yourself in that way. In other words, we have to go back to body language. In Vanessa Van Edwards' book, we can see the most effective warmth cues. Here's the list. As a fun fact, there are 3 types of nodding. One is used by both sexes, while the other 2 are used only by the boys.
Are you seriously watching porn by yourself?
Nah, I'm with my boy.
Okay, back to nodding. The first one is the nod up, something like, "What's up?" And the second one is the nod down, "Respect." Now we all know how everybody keeps saying that the first impression is very important, but what if someone hates you before you officially meet them? Can you fix it? Number 3. The impression switch. This is Oscar Wilde, a witty Irish poet. During his tour in 1882, he was warned by the miners from Leadville, if the pretty boy poet dares to show up in the town, he'll be hung from the highest tree. An invitation Oscar Wilde could not refuse. So he went there and was welcomed with bad looks and mockery. But he didn't play their game. He leaned into it with self-deprecating humor, making it seem like he's not offended, not their enemy. Once the tension was down, he asked the miners to introduce him into their ways. So he started to play cards, eat their tasteless food, drink their crappy whiskey, and even go down in the mines to help. But after all this lower class behavior, Wilde would still keep his lecture about poetry and call it a day. Like many others, the people of this town fell under his spell, so much that at his departure, they named a mine after him, the Oscar Lode. You see, Wilde was smart. He knew how judgmental people are. A miner would call a poet weak, while a poet would call a miner dumb. But he also knew about the power of the halo effect. If he could just prove to the others that he doesn't fit in one stereotype, they will get curious and start to like him more. So, if people call you a nerd, show them one reason you're not a nerd. If people call you weak, show them one reason you're not weak. If people call you bitchless, well, you need to watch this video.